Hey, so this is the Drupal Usability meeting for 26th of June 2018, and we'll at least start talking about a bunch of media topics, and then we'll see what's next. Who wants to start?
Oh, I nominate Sam.
Yeah. So I'll just start right away with sharing my screen, if I can. Yep. So can you see the screen?
I see it, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, so the media library got committed last week, which is great. Thanks for everyone for working on it. I know we were kind of in a tight time constraint, and now we're moving forward with this issue, which aims to add a field widget that uses that media library, which was kind of the whole point of getting it into the first place. For people that don't know, right now when you use media in Drupal core, you have to use just the core entity reference field, which can be really hard as you scale and have hundreds of media, thousands of media. And entity reference lets you select by title, and that's not great either. You want a visual representation. So this is basically trying to bridge the gap between Drupal and other CMSs. I posted a video, but the narration is really important, so I'm not going to play it during the call, but I will show a similar demo. Yeah, I have this patch applied, and this is the standard profile. This is the node add form for article. I've added a media field to article that accepts two media items. So it has a cardinality of 2, and it only allows files and images. So this is the field set. It prompts you when there's nothing selected. It also lets you know how much is left. You can click add media, and you get the media library we work so hard on in this little modal. And from here, you can select items. Note when you select like the same amount as the cardinality, it grays out other things because we don't want to let you make an invalid selection. Part of that also is that only the media types that are allowed in the field are shown in the view. That's another like piece of functionality that users shouldn't think about, but is in the patch. So you can select media. Oh gosh, I've been working on the patch. This is terrible. Hold on.
Sam, you never work on the patch before a demo.
But it won't take long. Hold on one sec.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, now might be a bad time to say that we're hoping to get UX sign-off on this.
No. It's all...
Your video. The video was great.
Yeah. If anybody would see how it's meant to work, there is a video in the issue, and I will in fact link everybody to that for your reference.
Great. All my crazy patch tooling worked. So yeah, forget about the last 10 seconds and pretend like it just worked. Yeah, you have 2 media items I just selected in the field. I can drag and drop these to reorder them. It's using jQuery draggable, just like table drag, but obviously it's not a table. And so you can reorder, you can remove items, and then you're kind of prompted again, like you can have select one more, so you can reopen, select more. Yeah, and you can also like do the weights manually for accessibility, so you can set these and they work, and they also get updated when you drag things around. I don't know if table drag has that, but I added it because it seemed useful. Yeah, so that's how it works right now. So we're basically just looking for people to go into the issue and apply the patch, which should work. This is the latest patch, and give UX and accessibility feedback as we work on it. Yeah, are there any questions before I move to one other thing?
I would just mention that this is to land the media library in a shippable state in core for 8.6. This is critical that we land this. So anybody who wants to test it out from a UX or accessibility standpoint, don't delay. We really need the feedback, and we need it ASAP. Thank you.
message.
Yeah, I feel good about this because, like, you know, I think I reviewed it. Gab, basically, we were like, oh, the words could use more work here, but the actual functionality of it works great. The current live demo excluded, but anyways.
Of course.
But the video did a great job of covering all the edge cases. It showed the current UX, the proposed UX. It's like way easier to do everything, selecting, deleting, everything. So yeah, huge +1 once the couple of little rough edges get sanded off. The one thing feedback that I think we should not lose in this patch is the add functionality, because even though it's very clunky, people are going to want to add stuff from here. So until we replace that functionality with something better, I think we should leave the crappy version. But apart from that, it looks wonderful.
Okay, so restore the help text about adding minor bike shedding on the words. Other than that, right now I think the issue is marked for usability review. So I don't know when we can remove that tag. We actually need a bunch of reviews on that one. So I don't know. Do we want to have Roy explicitly knock off UX review?
Well, we can't really say until he's on the call, but we can try to prompt him in chat, or he can watch the recording. Yeah.
Okay.
Or anyone.
Right. Christina, have you had a chance?
So whoever wants to review it, it's good. It also needs accessibility review, so we'll need Andrew to take a look. So.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll bother Roy and Andrew and Christina. If you have any thoughts on this, we'd love to know.
I have some thoughts on the design perspective, not on the UX thing. I would say there's this white border, and the final design, we removed it, but I don't think that's something that has to stop anything. It's not an important thing, so it maybe would be a follow-up, and probably I could directly add it on the issue. Also, another thing is the cross, the icon for the cross. Is it anywhere else?
This is a core icon that I've found, but I do not know where it's used.
So the icon has the circle on it?
No, I think that's some border and background color. Without checking, I'll just guess that.
Okay. Okay. I will check that.
Is that for the dialogue?
No, but I think the cross is bigger than I was expecting. But I can just make a quick review directly there. But I think that will be a follow-up, not I don't know, what do you think? But I think it's a really small thing that can be done in a follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Sam.
Oh, I was just going to say, either way, if you put it in the issue and it's something minor, I really don't mind doing it. I think with the follow-ups, I'm just worried about us not doing them or losing track of them. So if something's small, I would prefer to do it in the issue.
Okay.
One thing I'll also say is, as you mentioned, the white border, that was in the most recent, that's what's in core. It's in the most recent mock-up before the issue was closed. I think, yeah. So that's what's in core. So if that's not what we want, we should open a new issue, like separate from the field widget to change that. There's something like, I'm trying to go back to the issue and find whatever Yoro's mock-up. It might take too long for this call, but there was like a final mock-up that had the white border. Yeah, this one.
And it doesn't have white border.
Oh, do you mean?
Yeah.
Just a tiny bit around it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we should change that.
Yeah, because it goes at the beginning, the first mock-ups, but then we removed it. But as I was saying, I think it's a really small issue, and also the padding around the text. But I can just make a follow-up or something.
Yeah, I'd be happy to work on that as soon as I can, because I want to make sure that matches. So.
Okay.
Yeah, So that's the field widget that we're working on. So please try out the patch. I'll post the issue again in UX chat, but just for the call, it's 2962525. The other thing, which we really, it's kind of a bigger issue, is that when at some point with this modal, we want to be able to add media here as well. We don't want people to go to a new tab. And there are already mockups for this. Let me go to this issue. This issue is about extending the field widget once it's in to allow uploads. So yeah, we have this older mockup that we tried to implement and ran into a lot of problems, so we stopped working on it, but I want to give it another shot, and I haven't done that yet. So there's not really anything to demo, but I would also like people to go to this issue and maybe look at the last patch and look at the mockup, and just, if you have any ideas about it, they're welcome. I think we're pretty open to stuff. Yeah, so nothing to demo there, but that's just what's coming next after this field widget issue. So.
Yep, +1 on that. Christina, will you post your feedback into the main issue, which I will post again here in the Hangouts? Any design feedback so that we can just deal with the minor, with like any of the easy stuff?
The main issue is the one ended in 2525?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then anything that's easy for us to handle in there that you have, we'll just try to do it.
Okay. We'll do it.
Yep.
All right. Is that all we have on the library?
Yeah, that's basically all I had to talk about. I just think this issue hasn't been really seen or talked about since a demo from a long time ago, so it's good to bring it up again.
Yep. So where media is concerned, this is now our top priority. I would like to shift gears a little bit, unless anybody has anything else they want to mention on that. I'll take that as a no. Okay, so I want to just let me share my screen too, just because it's, yeah. I'm going to share mine. Okay, can everybody see my screen okay? Okay, yeah. I assume
yes.
All right, cool. So as you may or may not know, support for YouTube and Vimeo also landed in core last week. You can, it's there when you install the media module. The problem is that when you install the media module normally or currently, there's no media type that exists, like there's no pre-existing media type that lets you actually use YouTube and Vimeo. So we have a patch which enables this out of the box for standard when you install media. And it's looking really good. Angie tested it, or I demoed it to Angie the other day. She was blown away. I assume she was blown away. She didn't break it, put it that way. The only question, there's only one outstanding question I want to run past everybody, which is the new label of the new media type. And especially if it's going to be confusing to have it called this in comparison to just video. So this video one that you see here, this already comes with core out of the box. We want to add this additionally. The difference between the two of them is that this one here, you have to upload a video file like to your server, and this one you just link to a YouTube URL. So does this, I would like to get just opinions on whether this label is okay for us to commit now, or is it confusing, or what?
I'd say confusing. I feel like that should be in the description, which it already is, but yeah, I don't know.
I would suggest remote video.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Remote video? Any dissenting opinions?
Because in the future, this could support other things, right? It's just that it happens to be YouTube and Vimeo now.
That's correct. Yeah, it could theoretically support things in the future. Yeah, other things besides just YouTube and Vimeo.
What kind of things? I mean, videos also, or?
Yeah, I mean, it could be videos. It could really be anything that uses OEmbed. So, I mean, it could be something like YouTube, Vimeo, and Twitter if you wanted to get crazy. You know, maybe something also like YouTube, Vimeo, Brightcove. The reason we just called it YouTube and Vimeo is because that's what it supports out of the box only, but it can be extended.
Is it just video or could it be audio?
In theory, again, this would take a little bit of code to do, but in theory, it could also be audio.
It could be Twitter, so I mean, it could theoretically be anything that supports OEmbed.
Yeah. But again, like those options don't present themselves. So if I go and edit this media type, my only choices are YouTube and Vimeo anyway. And that's currently more or less hard coded. So it's not like there's some other checkbox somewhere where they can also give options for like Brightcove and Twitter and SoundCloud and whatever. It's just currently we only have YouTube and currently we only officially support YouTube and Vimeo in core officially. So the question of will there be support for other providers is, you know, technically we have that, but it's not really officially supported at the moment.
Yeah, it gets tricky because if we name it remote video, which is fine for what we see before us, but we add a feature later on to let site builders manually toggle on and off different OEmbed providers they want to be able to use, then it starts to become probably be called remote media because it's tweets, it's Facebook posts, it's, you know, recipes, like whatever. From basically what it is. But then that gets a little confusing when it's like, because most people would not think of YouTube as do you know what I mean? Kind of went around and around on this because I wasn't sure. The current label did not feel right to me, but the right label was not immediately apparent. So that's why I suggested him coming on this call to kind of talk it over with people.
Right. Now, the thing about remote media to me I would not I would be against putting a media type called remote media into core because it's just too, it's like for something that we'd ship out of the box, it would just be too like wide. It's just like, what does that even mean, you know?
Yeah, do we support a DAM or like a digital asset management system in the background that you can refer to?
Right. I mean, my feeling is if people want to create, like if site builders are going to create crazy OEmbed types that support like SoundCloud, YouTube, and Twitter all at the same time, they will, that's a weird edge case or that's a very custom case and they'll come up with some name that works for them. But as far as what we're shipping in core, I think remote video is actually what we were originally going to go with, but we wanted to wait until the UX call to spring the bike shed on everybody. So yeah.
Okay. So is there consensus then on remote video?
Yeah. Do we agree on that? I agree. I agree with it.
Maybe remote content? I don't know.
Seems like it. Speaking of bike shedding, what's the official capitalization of YouTube?
Pretty sure it's just what you see.
It's like that. Yeah, I checked it when I looked at the patch.
Okay.
It's like this. Yeah.
That's not bike shedding. That's yak shedding. That's a different kind of bike shedding. That's advanced bike shedding.
So just to chime in, because I'm just kind of squatting, the only thing that I would think is that I think remote video is better, but when I think remote, I think kind of like Gabor was saying, that it implies that it might actually live somewhere else and we're just surfacing it here, which it kind of does. But what about OEmbed video? Otherwise, I think it sounds fine.
I would object to OEmbed video because nobody who's not a developer is going to, at least correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure nobody who's not a developer has any idea what the fuck OEmbed is.
You're right.
And they'll resent us for trying to explain it.
But they know what embeds are, right? I mean, I think that's kind of common. You see that in some interfaces.
They may know what an embed is, but even that's an ambiguous term, I feel, where it's like, what does embed actually mean? And I don't think I think that the term OEmbed is a very technical term that's really kind of meant to be speaking of an embed as in a developer-y sense of let me link to this third-party resource over here. So I would be pretty against calling it OEmbed anything. I don't think that should be exposed to users.
Yeah, I'm a site builder. I have a Vimeo account. I want to put my videos on my website. Even the word hosting is wrong. I think OEmbed is too technical for me.
Okay.
It's a good point. I think remote video.
Okay, so I think we have consensus on remote video. I will note that in the issue, and we'll have that patch changed and land it hopefully this week. That's all I wanted to. That's all I wanted from everybody. So thank you.
Ta-da! Bike shed painted.
Yeah. Until yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks.
No, bike shed painted, and it's experimental, and we can always change it later. But I think that's a good color for now to paint the bike shed. Cool. What next? We're getting so much shit done. This is great.
Well, media's got nothing, so whatever. Yeah, seriously. It's like Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa. That's all at once. We got through 2 things for media in the UX. It's a miracle.
Cool. Christina, do you have something on admin UI?
Not yet. We've been actually bike shedding a bit with, well, not bike shedding, well, not bike shedding itself, but we've been working with the accessibility people, reviewing all the palette and all the colors that we're working on. So we've had to rework a little bit with some stuff, and we are some days later from what we were expecting. So ideally tomorrow we're going to share the first issues on the admin UI channel to start working on them, and hopefully this week we will start with 7, ideally, hopefully, but nothing more specific for now.
Any
And
call to
nothing.
Christina in advance of Dev Days? Because Dev Days is next week, so I'm assuming you won't be on this call.
Sorry? Could you repeat?
Do you have any calls to action for next week at Dev Days for people who might be tuning into this if they're going?
What do you mean with call to action?
Like issues they should be following, or things that you need help with, or that kind of thing?
Actually, working on an issue list. We have the issue prepared, 20 issues prepared, waiting for designs. Just pasted the link here. Is on the repo is Drupal UX /7. And we have there several issues that still needs design for that. So we are going to focus on the basic components like fields and buttons. We want to have them finished this week and have designs on them. But we have several issues almost defined, waiting for designs. I'm not sure if that's enough. I'll implement that.
So Drupal Dev Days may be next week, but Design for Drupal is this week. And I'm looking for any calls to action that I can add to my presentation, which will be on Thursday.
Good question.
Yeah, wow. Designs, and we've got a shit ton of designers at a conference today. Maybe that's a good thing. If we could connect.
That's a good point. Ideally, having some designers that want to get involved, it will be great on the design team. That we are working on. We're working with Figma. It's something like a sketch, but working on online, like if it was Google Docs. And we have weekly meetings to review which we have several components, and each one works on a component every week, and then have a meeting once every week, and we review the work done and pick the final designs. Well, that's the ideal process. The reality is that we actually bike shed a lot in the meetings, but that's the goal. And if you can get some designers that actually want to get involved, it will be amazing. So mainly UI designers.
Well,
what would be the, if he finds some people, they join the admin UI channel on Slack and ping you, or like what would they do?
Yeah, good point. I would say yes, that will be the idea. The admin UI channel, it's the public one where we are going to ideally start with the 7 other discussions there. And also when we have a more polished design, also probably a lot of the design conversations will move there. But that's the entry point. And from there, just ping me or Roy or something like that, and then you can add them to the Figma. Give them permissions to edit anything on Figma, and give them a little bit of introduction information, and so on. So yeah. So far, it's a little closed, designers closed channel right now. I don't know if I've been clear enough. So yeah, the steps will be joining admin UI channel and saying, hi, I'm a designer and want to help with that. And that's all. And also, if there's any UX specialist or something like that, there's also another group working on a usability study, well, a user study, and that we are going to launch a survey in the next weeks. And if anybody, well, and we are also preparing a card sorting, an online card sorting to work on the information architecture. So if anyone interested on that can actually help on that also. So it's not only visual UI, is also UX. I don't know.
Down here. Is there any information on that?
No, not yet. We are going to publish that when we publish the survey. Sorry about that. They were asking to not be so many people, especially for the data, for handling personal data and so on the survey. I guess it will happen on the admin UI channel in a few weeks, but so far it's been on a private, on a closed channel also. I guess the main issue or the main thing where people can help is with designs for now. So if we can find designers willing to help, it would be great.
So that would be on the GitHub repo you posted? in the chat?
No, it's going to, that is for 7. And any designer that is willing to help just have to join the admin UI channel and say that he or she is a designer and want to help. And I will explain her or him a little bit what are the possible options to help. And from there, I will give permissions, or depending on what they want to work on, to the tool for the design.
All right. So Benji, you're going to go find us a huge team of volunteer designers, right?
I will try to get some people interested. We'll see how successful I am.
Oh, that'd be great. Great. Especially like if we could, yeah, I mean, see what you can find. But if we could get some people who hate the way 7 looks out of the box and want it to look like it does, and looking for something to work on, it would be wonderful to point in this way. So.
I have a great session title. It's Design SOS.
Nice.
All right. Do we have any other topics, especially if in need for 8.6? Stuff to review, stuff to unblock?
One thing I'm not sure of is where workflow is at. Like Workspaces got committed as an alpha module a couple of month ago or couple months ago. But in order to stay in core, it needs to be beta level stability. And I kind of feel like I have a spidey sense that there's some kind of UX thing that is blocking them from being beta, but I don't really know what it is. Like, Gabor, are you any more up to speed on that initiative than I am as far as like what this team can do to help expedite their efforts?
So I think the things that they were blocked on are more technical questions than UX questions.
Okay.
Like where to implement the box around the page for the tray that opens up from the top. Should it be an option? Should it be mandatory? Should it be an option on something, or like an option in core on the dialog, or should it be implemented specifically with workspaces? So yeah, I'm not aware of specific issues currently that they need feedback on. So the add workspaces in top dialog, that is the current focus for workspaces, is 2949991. I'll put it in Hangouts as well. Those who want to look, and it works quite nicely already. So what the team is working on is just mostly to break up the pieces into separate issues, so it's not there all at once. So it's more like trying to make sense of the implementation. But yeah, it mostly works fine as in mobile as well.
Great. Speaking of mobile, that was one of the points that got brought up on the media library selector widget. So I don't know, Sam, if you're at all mobile squishy. Otherwise, I can always do it offline.
I was planning to check it out. We're not doing the library has been tested on mobile like itself, but of course in a modal things are different. So yeah, we'll need to look. They also brought up that they were just wondering if a lot of this is kind of unique to 7, if it's going to work with other themes. And as far as I know, we haven't done anything that's 7 specific, but maybe it's good to test that at some point down the line too. So to answer you, I'll look at it. Sorry.
Yep, I just didn't want that to be lost in the feedback that was like, holy shit, this is great. Oh my God, let's ship it immediately. It's just like, oh, that was a good point. We should actually look into it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So I guess there may be one more thing from out of the box, in fact, for 8.6. I think Angie raised earlier that we may want to revisit the messaging for how out of the box looks like on the install screen. And I don't think we need to, but I think it's better if we look since we are all here. So I'm starting to launch a sandbox for that right now. But it's basically the way it's saying, the way it's trying to warn people into understanding that it's a demonstration profile and it's not for being used as a base for anything. That's what would be good to be sure that we are doing right. So let me share. Boop, boop, boop. Zoop. This one. So this is what we have in 8.6. So it says we have standard, minimal, and demo. And if you are in standard, then it looks like a normal select list. And demo says it's the Umami Food Magazine experimental, and install an example site that shows off some of Drupal's capabilities. And if you pick demo and not standard or minimal, it also shows you this warning that this profile is intended for demonstration purposes only, which is somewhat more information than was available earlier and also supposed to warn you one more time.
I guess the only problem here is they don't like, something we might want to think about is, and this is actually a bad place for it, but some kind of thing, once you're finished evaluating, click here for instruction. Like somewhere that needs to go. Because this doesn't give them enough information about what that means, like what that implies.
Any other comments? No? Okay, so because if you go forward from here, then eventually you get a screen that has a area which tells you the same thing. You could put it there. So it's in this. It's in the toolbar where it basically says the same thing that it says for demo purposes, and I think that links to a docs page. It probably tells you that already, or it maybe should tell you that.
Is it a doc page on Drupal.org or
Yep.
is it?
Yep.
And then it goes down. Do we have any documentation on the internal help page?
I don't know. That's not. I don't know. Maybe. Let's see. We don't seem to be providing a help hook. I don't know if it's probably profiles can probably provide a help hook, so we should be able to, but we are not providing any. And we don't have the bar anymore. That looks like a problem. So we used to have a nice little area here that said this is for demo. Oh, I think we have that on. Yeah, that's where we have it. Yeah, we have it on the back end because obviously.
Is that clickable?
That is clickable, yeah. So this is intended for demonstration purposes. It's a link, and when you click it, then it goes to Umami Drupal 8 demo install profile.
Hey, there's docs.
It tells you it's for demo purposes only. Why is it just for demo? Like it explains that we don't promise backwards compatibility. You should feel free to tinker around with the demo, create and modify views, etc. What to do when you're ready to build your Drupal website.
Okay, so
Simply
we need a
reinstall
little
Drupal.
bit more
Selecting
definition.
Windows.
Just reinstall it. Person who's never used Drupal before. That should be very easy.
Yeah, simply. That's a word that should not be there. That's a kill us. Yeah, that's a word that's should not exist in documentation. Yeah, so obviously we need to expand this. I've been involved with the previous edits of this doc, so I can continue help enhance this. So I think
now that sentence that Walker is in there, it would be good to file a follow-up that's like, we should expand this page out. Maybe not, this looks like an overview page, so maybe there's a separate page underneath this that's like detailed instructions, but
we don't.
I think we need to give people kind of a...
No, we don't have anything further. This is what we have. So we have the what, why is it just for demo? We have what to do when you're ready, and we have if you're a Drupal agency and want to use Umami to sell Drupal, what to do. Which is
build Drupal website needs to link to something that's like step 1, do this, step 2, do that, because people don't know what reinstall means. Or maybe just reinstall can link to like an install page in the user guide, but something like we can't leave that text the way it is.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I agree. So we have this linking out. So that's a thing that shows up on the back end, not on the front end. And I think the rationale there was to be more of a demonstration of what Drupal is. And then when you actually want to do something with it, then you're like, okay, what about this thing? That was the idea. Okay, I guess that's not that bad then. That's it for out of the box, I think. It's the only question I know.
I'd be very, very fucking excited to see that in the out of the box, like the out of the box initiative being available out of the box is going to be super huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to make sure we look at this because this was raised that we should revisit how they appear in the installer, etc. That's important.
I like that it's so visible in the back end, but not the front end. I think that's smart because, I mean, the demo would be in the back end too, depending on the use case. But yeah, people will ignore the message if we don't make it really prevalent. So.
Yep, I think it strikes a good balance between not making the demo look like shit and also not letting people get trapped into, like, the second they try and do something admin-y, it's like, whoa, what is that about? You know, so that's the hope, is that people will click things and read them.
Yeah, I think we needed to strike a balance here for the sake of like enjoying the demo, and also we have this section for we are a Drupal agency and want to use Umami to sell Drupal, for the reason of people who are not themselves trying out Drupal but want to use this as a demo to sell Drupal to other people. And for them, we suggest the eventually available inheritance for install profiles that is still being worked on by none other than Adam Honig, who already left the meeting. Because if we would have that in core, then agencies would be able to inherit from Umami and our agency, and they know what they're doing. Then in their profile they could do that, and they could add more features and like integrate with their best practice, whatever, and etc. So that's a possibility. So hopefully people will not set up demos from scratch. but could use this eventually. All right. If there's no other topics for today, then I should be able to close this meeting. See some of you at Staff Days next week. Only Christina from here, I guess.
Yeah.
And have fun at Design for Drupal. I see it starts tomorrow.
Yes, thank you. And
Cool.
I think that Jacob mentioned he'll be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Great.
Everybody.
Have a nice week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yep.
Bye.